last few days, we've been working on revising our narratives. We've added imagery or descriptive language, we've slowed down time, we've added dialogue or revised sections where our dialogue sounds a little choppy. Most importantly, we've been working on those 4 revision goals that we set for ourselves. Today, I'm going to ask you to work on editing. Editing is the last stage in the writing process, yet it is so important. Today, you're going to edit for paragraphing, common errors, and spelling or punctuation. We've already spent a lot of time learning how to edit for paragraphing, so you should be able to do that today. I'm not going to spend much time on that in this video. Let's get started with common errors. Common error number 1 is the sentence fragment. A sentence fragment is a sentence that's missing either a subject, a verb, or is not a complete thought. A complete sentence has a subject, a verb, and is a complete thought. So let's look at a complete sentence. The boy ran. The way that you identify a subject is by asking yourself, who or what did it? Well, the boy did. The verb, an easy way to identify the verb, is what did he, she, or it do? The boy ran. Is it a complete thought? Absolutely. So the boy ran is a complete sentence. The 3 examples below are sentence fragments. They are missing either a subject, a verb, or not a complete thought. Wrapping my apron around my waist. Well, who or what did it? Who or what did the wrapping? I'm not sure. What did he, she, or it do? The wrapping, right? So I am missing a subject. In order to revise this sentence, I need to add a subject. Someone or something needs to wrap the apron around their waist. 2 orders of pancakes is my next sentence fragment. Who or what did it? Well, I have 2 orders of pancakes, right? 2 orders of pancakes are doing something. But what are they doing? I don't know. I am missing a verb. So in order to revise this sentence fragment, I need to add a verb. I need to make the 2 orders of pancakes do something. Maybe they could fly across the restaurant. And sentence fragment number 3. After I filled the empty cups of coffee. Well, who or what did it? I have a subject. What did I do? I filled. So I have a subject and I have a verb, but is it a complete thought? After I filled the empty cups of coffee, you really want something to come after that sentence. That's because of the word after. After makes it so that this sentence needs to have something come after it. It's not a complete thought unless you say, after I filled the empty cups of coffee, I ran to the restroom, right? Something has to come after it. Common error number 2 is when you take 2 sentences and you shove them together. It's like a train wreck. See this joint connecting the 2 train cars together? That is missing in a run-on sentence. We've taken 2 healthy train cars, 2 complete sentences, and we just shove them together. Sometimes we do that with a comma, and sometimes we don't have a comma. So let's look at these run-on sentences. I grab 5 plates off the counter. I start heading towards the front of the restaurant. So my first job is to identify the sentences. I grab 5 plates off the counter as my first sentence, and I start heading towards the front of the restaurant. So I've just joined these 2 sentences with a comma, but that's not good enough. A comma doesn't work to actually join these 2 sentences together. So what do I do? How do I fix a run-on sentence? Well, I have 2 options. I could break it into 2 sentences, or I could add a coordinating conjunction like for, and, nor, but, or, yet, or so. So what should I do? I think I'm going to add a coordinating conjunction here. I grab 5 plates off the counter, and I start heading towards the front of the restaurant. Suddenly, and is doing the work of joining these 2 sentences together in a way that makes it not a run-on sentence. Let's look at run-on sentence number 2. I slowly push myself up onto my knees. My head is throbbing. So let's identify the sentences. I slowly push myself up onto my knees and my head is throbbing. So you just heard it. I could add and right here, or let's try my fix number 1, right, which is just to break into 2 sentences. So I could take and put a period here and just capitalize the first letter of my next sentence. And suddenly I have 2 complete sentences. I slowly push myself up onto my knees and my head is throbbing. The moment where I think it's the hardest to notice my run-on sentences are moments where I have these really long sentences that I've strung together. Just then, I feel a foot slam against the shoe of a customer who is seated with his foot in the aisleway. That's my first sentence. I lunge, trying to catch myself, but I know, sorry, no is spelled wrong. I know that it is too late. So my 2 sentences have a little bit extra added to them, so it's a little bit hard to identify where they are. But I need to either add a conjunction here or break these into 2 sentences. Since they're so long already, I'm just going to break it into 2 sentences. So just then, I feel a foot slam against the shoe of a customer who is seated with his foot in the aisleway is 1 sentence. And I lunge, trying to catch myself, but I know, let's get rid of that A, but I know that it is too late. I am seeing common error number 2 run-on sentences all over your drafts. So even though I want you to make sure that you're focusing on sentence fragments today, I really want you to make sure that you don't have any run-on sentences throughout your narrative because they are really hard to identify, but really easy to fix. Common error number 3 is punctuating dialogue. There are 4 rules that you already know for punctuating dialogue. Rule number 1, if it's said or thought, it needs to go in quotation marks. Rule number 2, the punctuation goes inside the quotation marks. Rule number 3, the comma goes inside the quotation marks if you say how the character says it afterwards, like she muttered, and if there's a new speaker, you need a new paragraph. So let's fix my dialogue down below, my punctuation for dialogue. So morning, Jill, Joe responds as he pours himself a cup of coffee. So I'm breaking rule number 3, I'm missing a comma here because I say Joe responds. So I need to add a comma here inside the quotation marks. You need a cup. Well, notice that my punctuation, rule number 2, is outside of the quotation marks. So I need to delete that and put that question mark inside the quotation marks. No thanks, had one on my way, I say, wrapping my apron around my waist. So notice here that I have a new speaker. I'm breaking rule number 4. I need a new paragraph. Okay, those are our 3 common errors: sentence fragments, run-on sentences, and punctuating dialogue. Now for spelling and punctuation. Spelling and punctuation is just going to be something that you're going to be working on your whole life. I still, when I write a draft, have lots of places where I have to edit spelling and punctuation. So my trick for you is to use the tools. So I want to show you quickly how to use some of the tools in OneDrive. So I have a part of my text written here. And I notice that I have these little lines underneath. The little red lines mean that my spelling it's not spelled correctly, and the blue lines are grammar or punctuation. So if I want to change this and I don't know how to spell morning, if I just right click, so I hover over it and I right click, notice that it's going to give me some options like mooring or mooring or morning. So I'm going to click on morning and notice that it changes it. I could do the same with this blue line, right? Instead, I know that Pancake House is okay, so I'm going to ignore this. I have a spelling error here. I need to capitalize the I, everything. Oops, sorry. Got to get the right click correct. And busiest. So now that's fixed. So your job today, you're going to edit for paragraphing first. Then you're going to edit for common errors like sentence fragments, run-on sentences, and punctuating dialogue. And lastly, you're going to use your tools to edit for spelling or punctuation. Get started.